what predicts divorce.
Mm-hmm.
What did you find?
Well, I have to give credit where credit's due, but the most long-standing research into marriage and relationships was by the Gottman Institution, and they did the most scientific and objective analysis of relationships, and they studied 10,000 couples in a lab over a couple of days, and they were able to predict with 80% accuracy which couples would stay together and which ones would get divorced within a year. And it was so simple what they were able to find, and it was simple thing as responding to each other's bids for connection. What I mean by this is when we have a partnership where one person comes home and expresses an emotion, the other one picks up on it, that partnership has the base levels to last a really long time. So it could be a simple thing like you come home from work and say, oh, I'm so tired, and your partner says, why, what's wrong? Simple connection. From that connection, they trust each other, and then they start to lean into each other. But if you come home and you're like, I'm so tired, and your partner either says nothing or says, why are you tired? I'm the one that's been with the kids all day, or what have you done all day? I've been at work all day. That turning away from each other's emotional needs is the training ground for divorce. They are now setting themselves up for divorce, and it might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, it might last another 10, 15 years, but we get emotionally exhausted by having partners who reject our kind of advances for connection, and eventually the relationship ends.
Why is it the case then that divorce rates are rising? If that's the biggest predictor, if that's 80% accuracy of being able to predict, why has that specific trait changed so much over the last 50 years?
Distractions. There are alternatives to everything. Even if you want a meal, you'll have 50 alternatives on Uber Eats. You want to go out to eat, there's 50 places that you could go. You want to watch something, there's 50 alternatives of what to watch. There are so many alternatives to every single aspect of life that it makes it almost impossible to invest in one. Everybody and everything becomes disposable. So what's happening is when your partner comes home a bit tired or stressed, it maybe in the past you'd pick up on it, but now you're on your phone. Or maybe when your partner wanted to watch a series that you didn't care about, in the past you may have been like, okay, it's fine, I'll just get on with it, there's nothing else on. Now, like, you watch this, I'm going to watch that. There's so many alternatives to everybody, and every person is now becoming so disposable that we can no longer have the patience to invest in people's emotional needs. And we're becoming so hedonistic that our emotional needs come first. And we're being taught this in society more and more. We're always talked about put you first, self-esteem, self-assurance, self-actualization. The word self is kind of programmed in our psyche, and the collectivism that we used to have as a society is gone. So we're no longer getting happiness from somebody else's happiness. It's a selfish pursuit now, unfortunately.
Isn't it strange that the trait of focusing not on somebody else's desire for connection is causing you to turn inward? That is causing divorces to increase down the line, which means that people respond to that by being more defensive, by being more guarded and more cynical, which makes them turn further inward, which makes them less of an eligible partner to the next relationship, which then just creates a cycle that then gets broadcast onto the internet. People who haven't had much experience in relationships because they're young, or because they fail out, or because they're concerned or nervous or averted to risk, use that as their proxy and say, right, well, I'd better enter into this relationship guarding myself so that I don't get hurt, which makes it more likely that it's going to break up, and the cycle just continues.
Yeah. It's exactly that. What happens is we're actually entering relationships with our armor up. But in the process of playing those games, like not texting back, not getting too close, not attaching, not telling them that you miss them, not telling them that you love them, you are training somebody to love you in the wrong way. If I'm somebody who's needy and I actually need lots of love and reassurance, but I don't want to text first, and I don't want to be looking needy, and I don't want to say I miss you because I'm going to wait for him, I am then teaching him that I'm cool, calm, and collect, and I don't care when I hear from him. If I see you, I see you. But then he's not getting the training ground of what I truly want. He's not getting access to my true needs. So I am now no longer communicating effectively. I'm actually teaching him how to love in a very avoidant and dismissive manner because I'm pretending to be cool. When really, if I say, look, I need to speak to my partner on a daily basis. I like to see you regularly. I love you. I miss you. What is this? I like labels. When I start communicating my needs, he will actually learn how to love me. But we're teaching people to do the opposite. We're teaching people to pretend that there's somebody else, and especially pretend that they're avoidant, pretend that they're independent, pretend that they don't have these needs. So essentially, we're going to attract the wrong partner.
What else have you found that is a predictor of a toxic or a negative or a declining relationship?
Criticism over praise. Again, with the research, one of the things that they find is partners that last are ones that praise a substantial amount compared to criticism. So they scan the environment to kind of praise their partner. They'll look for excuses to praise their partner. Like, even if it's as simple as like, you make the bed so good. Every time I come home, the house is clean. These tiny things, any opportunity to praise their partner. But what happens in relationships that end is they can't remember the last time they complimented each other. They think it should be a given. They think, well, I think you're pretty because I'm with you, aren't I? Or, I'm grateful that you pay the bills. Like, you're a guy. Why do you need compliments? Men are craving this. I've noticed a lot in my practice, the men that often have affairs, they're not actually seeking sex. They're seeking a woman that compliments them. They say they can't remember the last time a woman told them that he looks great. Whereas for women, our partner says it, but also our friends will tell us. People will tell us. Yeah, we're always being told we're beautiful or whatever it is. But for men, if their partner doesn't tell them, nobody does. So when they meet somebody who simply tells them they look good, they're intelligent, something to validate them, they immediately become attracted to that because they're starved of it. So praise is something that I think couples forget how important it is.
I suppose that the game playing and the rivalry that sometimes happens in relationships as they start to go downhill, that makes this situation worse, because you're not going to praise somebody that you think is your rival or that you're trying to play games with, or that you're unsure about the level of trust that you should put in them.
Well, whoever you don't feel safe with. Thing is, all of these things that I'm saying, they only come when you feel safe. Now, simple things like liking other girls' pictures or following people now makes people feel super unsafe, super unsafe. So their guards go up. I know people that the moment they add somebody on Instagram and they see who they're following, they might have had a really great date with them. Everything was great, but then they look on their following like, oh, straight away, insecurities, guards, everything.